What if the toy sitting in your child's bedroom wasn't just a toy, but something else? A doll designed to sing cheerful songs suddenly begins speaking at night, even when its batteries are long gone. A figure that should stay perfectly still is discovered in a different place each morning, as though it had wandered around while everyone was asleep. For years, families have reported terrifying experiences with one of the most innocent-looking toys ever made, the Elsa doll from Disney as Frozen. What started as a fun gift quickly turned into a chilling nightmare for many parents who began to wonder, was this doll cursed, or were they dealing with something far darker? When Disney released Frozen back in 2013, the world was swept up in Elsa's icy magic. Kids everywhere wanted to dress like her, sing like her, and of course, play with her dolls. One of the most popular toys was the interactive Elsa doll that could sing Let It Go at the push of a button. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Parents bought the dolls as birthday gifts, Christmas presents, and surprise rewards. For most families, Elsa was just another beloved toy sitting among the stuffed animals and action figures. She was supposed to bring joy, laughter, and comfort to children. But as time passed, whispers began to spread. This doll wasn't always behaving the way it should. Families started noticing strange things. Things that couldn't be explained by faulty wiring or worn-out batteries. And that's when the story took a much darker turn. It started with small things moments easy to dismiss. Parents would walk into their child's room and find the Elsa doll playing music, even though no one had touched it. Some swore the doll's voice activated on its own, singing softly in the middle of the night. At first, families blamed faulty wiring or weak batteries, but the incidents became harder to ignore. One parent recalled removing the batteries completely, only to hear Elsa laugh later that evening. Another claimed the doll seemed to move from one corner of the room to another, as if it had been placed there deliberately. But what unsettled people the most wasn't just the strange behavior, was how unpredictable it became. The doll didn't just malfunction once. It seemed to come alive when no one was watching. But as unnerving as these early incidents were, they were nothing compared to what would come next. The strange tales surrounding Elsa might have stayed as private family stories, not for one chilling case that went viral. In Houston, Texas, a family claimed their Elsa doll refused to leave. According to reports, the doll began speaking in both English and Spanish, even though it had never been programmed for multiple languages. The family grew increasingly uneasy as the doll played songs at random hours, sometimes in the dead of night. Finally, after years of eerie behavior, they decided to throw it away. They wrapped the doll in a trash bag and placed it outside with the garbage. But a week later, Elsa returned sitting inside the house again, as though nothing had happened. Believing it might have been a coincidence, they tried a second time. This time, they placed the doll at the very bottom of their outdoor trash can, filled with heavy bags of waste. But just days later, Elsa appeared once again, this time in the backyard. Local news outlets picked up the story, and soon it spread online like wildfire. People everywhere were sharing the video clips and asking the same question. How could a simple doll come back on its own? And that was only the beginning. Once the story of the returning Elsa hit the internet, theories began to spread like wildfire. Some skeptics argued it had to be a prank, maybe a family member sneaking the doll back inside just to stir up drama. Others insisted it was nothing more than a glitchy toy, pointing to faulty wiring or sensors that caused it to act on its own. But for many, those explanations didn't fit. How could a doll thrown away twice, once under layers of garbage, still find its way back home? That's when darker theories started to emerge. Some online users claimed the doll might be possessed, tied to a restless spirit latching onto a child's toy. Others believed the doll carried an energy, something not easily explained by science, that made it impossible to get rid of. A few even pointed out that toys have historically been linked to paranormal stories, because they represent innocence, making them the perfect vessel for something sinister. The debate kept growing, and with each new retelling, Elsa's legend became more unsettling, because if it wasn't just a broken toy, then what was it? And just when people thought they'd heard it all, even creepier encounters began to surface. As the story spread, more families came forward with their own chilling experiences. Some claimed they heard faint voices at night, whispers, so soft they couldn't even make out the words, always coming from the direction of the doll. Others reported sudden cold spots in rooms where Elsa was kept, as if the temperature had dropped only around her. One mother described waking up to the sound of the doll laughing in the living room, even though no one was there. When she went to check, Elsa was sitting upright on the couch, facing the hallway. Another family claimed the doll's eyes seemed to follow them across the room, almost like it was watching their every move. Perhaps the most disturbing story came from a household that tried to banish the doll once and for all. They gave it away to friends across town, only to have it reappear weeks later in their own garage. Rumors online even suggested that one family was so disturbed they packed up their belongings and moved out, leaving the doll behind. These weren't isolated incidents. Each new report added another layer to Elsa's growing reputation, making her one of the most infamous haunted dolls of modern times. But Elsa wasn't just a private family horror story anymore, she was becoming a pop culture phenomenon. Once the story of the haunted Elsa doll caught fire online, it didn't take long for it to explode into pop culture. TikTok creators began making short horror skits about Elsa dolls that wouldn't die. YouTube channels dove deep into the mystery, analyzing every detail of the Texas family's experience. Creepy forums filled with posts from people claiming their own dolls were acting strange, adding fuel to the fire. What made the story so viral was the contrast. Elsa was supposed to be a symbol of childhood innocence, a singing princess loved by millions of kids worldwide. But now, she was being reimagined as a modern-day horror icon, like Annabelle's icy cousin. kids dared each other to keep Elsa dolls in their rooms overnight. Some even posted challenges online, filming themselves trying to throw Elsa away just to see if she came back. For parents, it was no longer just a toy. It was a reminder of a story that refused to die, much like the doll itself. By this point, Elsa wasn't just a frozen character anymore. She had become a legend of her own, one rooted not in fairy tales but in fear. But the question still remained: how much of this was fact, and how much was fueled by rumor? Despite all the terrifying stories, not everything about the Elsa doll can be explained as paranormal. Some experts point out that many interactive toys are prone to malfunctions. Buttons get stuck, wiring wears down, and sensors sometimes trigger on their own. That could explain why some dolls sang without being touched, or even continued to work without fresh batteries. But other details don't fit so neatly. How does a doll thrown away multiple times mysteriously return to a family's home? How do multiple households in completely different places report the same unsettling experiences, voices, laughter, and even movement? Coincidence? Or something darker that no one is willing to admit? There's also the power of suggestion. Once a story goes viral, people start noticing things they might have ignored before. A flicker of sound, a misplaced toy, even the way the doll's eyes are painted, all of it suddenly feels suspicious. Still, the persistence of these stories across the years has made many wonder if something truly unexplainable is attached to this doll. And that's what makes the tale of Elsa so chilling, because whether it's just a glitchy toy or something paranormal, the legend refuses to fade. The Elsa doll was never meant to be scary. It was designed to bring comfort, joy, and a little bit of magic to kids who adored the Frozen movies. But over time, it became something else entirely: a symbol of the unexplainable, a story that spread far beyond the families who owned it. Was it just a broken toy with bad wiring, a string of coincidences that spiraled into legend? Or was something much darker hiding behind that innocent smile and glittering dress? The truth may never be fully known, but one thing is certain. The legend of the haunted Elsa doll has become one of the most unsettling modern-day ghost stories. So the next time you see an Elsa doll sitting quietly in a toy bin or resting on a child's shelf, ask yourself this: what if it isn't just waiting to be played with? What if it's watching?